Revenge.
All right, good evening and welcome to Community Crossfire. I am Butch Ingram, your host this evening. Shout out to Norm Oliver. I want to personally thank him for giving me the opportunity this evening to speak with you, the community, on this Community Crossfire, another point of view. We have an amazing show for you tonight. We have three outstanding guests who are well vested in the community and really excited about sharing ways that we can help improve the quality of just lives. And the more I talk about it, the more excited I get, because improving lives is what it's all about, and making sure that the community is taken care of. So a little bit about me, because it's not Norm Oliver. As you can see, is I'm Butch Ingram. I am the principal currently at Glasgow High School. Super excited about that, working with our youth. I also was the principal of Bancroft here on the east side for 8 years prior to going to Glasgow High School, and had a number of other various positions throughout education and throughout the educational career, my educational career. So enough about me. I'm really excited about our guests. So I would like to start with our first guest, Mr. Ed Avinger. So Mr. Avinger, who are you?
Who am I? Well, right now, I'm an academic dean at the Bancroft School. Got a lot of my training under you when you were principal at Bancroft. Before that, I taught the 4th grade at Elbert Palmer. Now it's closed because we merged the city schools. And then I taught at your school as both a 3rd and 4th grade teacher. I'm all about the kids. I'm all about connecting with the families, and with the team at the school, we do everything we can to make sure that all the needs are met. I have a saying: every student, every day, whatever it takes.
Okay, I like that. So tell us a little bit, why education? Why did you go into it?
I got into education after owning bookstores for a period of about 15, 20 years. And then big corporation, Barnes & Noble, came in the areas where I had bookstores, and they opened up these mega stores. And you could pour not just a cup, but a whole pot of coffee on a book, and they would get a refund. Right. Not me. I'm a small mama papa shop. I'd have to eat that cost. They got to be so big. I got to be so small. I said, there's got to be another way to disseminate information, as books do that. One of those ways is to be involved in the system of education. And I chose the city of Wilmington, very specifically. It was a high crime city at the time, ranking #1 in the United States 10 years ago. Per capita for crime, similar to the environment where I grew up. So I said, I've got to come here and I have to give back.
Absolutely, and I'm sure the community and the students definitely appreciate your passion
they do.
And your desire to actually want to be involved, right? A lot
do.
of people kind of run from that opportunity to be able to kind of work with our youth, particularly those in the city, but you stayed the course, you studied the course, and
Yes.
then you just remained involved. So I understand that you wrote a dissertation recently. You are, I'm sorry, Ed Avinger. I should have called you Dr. Avinger,
Yes.
right?
Out of
You are
respect
now
for you
Dr.
as my former leader, I let that slide.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
right? So Dr. Avinger,
Yeah.
what was your dissertation about?
I wrote a dissertation on the importance of infusing community-based mentoring ideas and systems into a school-based mentoring program. Right now, the way our school-based mentoring program works is we have people from the outside community, and you got to be watched. You got to be careful when you use that term, outside community. You and I would see the outside community as the barbershop on the corner store, the deli, the pizza shop.
Right.
In a formal school-based community program, the outside community is the business district, the attorneys, the bankers, the lawyers, the people who come from the very big tall buildings that we see downtown past Walnut Street.
Right.
And I said, you know what? It's great that they come in, they give their 45 minutes, they sit with the kids, they have conversations, maybe even enlighten them about things that go on in their lives that might be new or unfamiliar to the students. But it's a different thing when you get a brother or a sister from around the way,
Right,
who has a wealth of experience about what it is actually like to grow up in the community and go through the struggles and seek that support that you need to make it out. Some of them have stories to tell, stories that need to be heard.
right.
Like when I was a child, it was important to me to be able to go. There was a brother in the corner that his name was Count. And my mother used to say, if I catch you talking to Count, you in trouble. Count was the guy that would feed us the information that we weren't getting from the school or from the outside community. He would tell us about the systems and about our history and how important it was to not just be okay or good, but to be great and to be better. And I believe that if we're able to take community, which means everybody all for one, everybody's all about the kids, bring all of that together and bring it into the school, then the school essentially becomes the community center.
Okay.
And not just a place where mentoring takes place. And it's open late. Because when you were principal, you stayed till 9, 10 o'clock at night anyway. So, we could use it as a community center with this idea back then.
Okay. So what should schools actually do, or how can schools actually infuse this philosophy into their particular buildings?
In my dissertation, I wrote an idea called Help is on the Way. Okay, how? Help is on the way.
Okay.
The idea is you have a mentoring room that is paid for by the district, not just hall monitors who come in and escort children who are in crisis, but an actual mentoring room consisting of adults from the community, and here's the controversial part, including people who have had prior legal complications.
Okay.
We know them as felonies.
Right.
And we know that felonies can completely turn a man's life upside down or a woman's life upside down, and it takes their path in life in the wrong direction. Violent felonies is one thing. I exclude those. But nonviolent felonies, those people have a story to tell. Many of them, 10, 15, 20 years later, they've completely turned their lives around, and they're talking to the children at home, and they're talking to the children in the neighborhood, but they're not reaching them in the school. So I believe we need a mentoring program inside the building, full-time mentors whose primary job it is to be the first responders to go to a classroom when a child is in a moment of crisis. And if you do it this way, he's going to know the student's first name, he's going to know mama's name, grandmama's name, he's going to know uncle, because he's a part of the community.
Okay, so you talk about them being a part of the community, and you talk about expanding it so that nonviolent offenders can actually become mentors. So talk a little bit more about the benefits of that.
Well, the benefits of that is, I'll use an example. When I was very, 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 very young, I got into a little trouble. Now, fortunately for me, I was a really great kid. I had the whole school behind me, and nothing was placed on record. But I was 11. Had I been 12, I could have been charged with an adult crime. That charge would have placed me outside of the realm of being able to work in a public school and affect the lives the way that I have. I took some money. They call it theft. The means by which I took it, they called it extortion. Forcing the child to give me the money. There's a long story for another show. But I take responsibility for that. And had I had a record, I would not have been able to impact lives the way that I have. So the importance is, I use that story now to explain to children why you should not take things that don't belong to you. And I use myself as an example of someone who's able to go from a difficult situation and rise above it to be, what's my name?
What's your name?
Dr. Avinger, that's right.
We cleared that up, right? We understand your name is Dr. Avinger, so I apologize here on TV, right? That Dr. Avinger has had some things that he's had to overcome, and he's made it. So actually, so you're a success story, and we definitely applaud your efforts, and we applaud the fact that you're able to give back, and people are able to see that you made some mistakes. So we appreciate your transparency tonight in talking about small, bits and pieces of essentially what happened and how you can still rise up and be successful. So we definitely appreciate that, and your story needs to be heard by many of our youth. So,
and there are many others with similar stories who have been kept out of the capacity of mentoring because they've had those run-ins 20 years ago, 30 years ago that were nonviolent.
So is there a way to go around that? Because I know districts have rules, right? And there's a lot of their hands are tied, for lack of a better word, where they're able to allow people to come in and actually support our youth. What do you think we can do with that?
You have a committee, look into an exploratory committee, look into policy, procedures, law, and essentially you set boundaries just the way you have them now, where that criteria doesn't allow them to come in. You set boundaries that are reasonable, and I do believe that the community should be a part of that decision making. So you have people who are vested in the community that know that particular individual that can make statements on that individual's behalf. We did have a scenario where we were successful in getting an individual, but the end of the year came. By the time we got everything approved, he was in there for about a week and a half.
Right.
But he had some priors back in the 1970s.
Right.
And he came in, he used to come to every single field trip. And he said to me, hey, man, I would like to come in and spend more time with the kids. Found out he had a prior. It took a little while.
Right.
At the very end, we were able to get in because the leadership recognized how important his contribution would be to the school.
And I think that that's important that you said that. And it's important that the community understands that. There are some things that obviously we have to be careful of when we allow people to come into our schools and actually work with our students, because you just never know.
Absolutely.
But in many cases, because of the law and the district guidelines, we're unable to do that. So for us to be able to do that, I think you make a valid point that we can really turn around the lives of our youth and of our children. And unfortunately, the people who are mentoring, as you stated, don't have similar stories that our youth are actually going through, for them to be able to connect, because we talk about relationships all the time, right? Schools are about relationships and connecting and being able to engage with that person at a much higher level that's not superficial. It's really deep.
Absolutely.
And you need a deep connection for kids to be able to be successful and rise to that level of expectation that we have for them. So that's absolutely outstanding that you were able to bring that forth. And hopefully there are people out there that are listening to that and really want to make a contribution and want to make this happen. And we'll look into those laws and see how we can adjust them in some cases to be able to kind of help support our youth.
It's important to know that even if we're not able to reach those people,
right,
there are hundreds without that prior felony who can still come into the school and make a contribution. So if we start there,
right,
that would be a plus.
Right. So mentoring is about, a lot of times it's in school.
Mm-hmm.
So how comfortable, or what do you think about mentoring outside the school walls?
Well, the proposal that I had in my dissertation was that the school connects with a community center. There's several of them here in town. We have one in Southbridge, there's one on the east side. That relationship with the community center extends from the school. So the individuals get first, who are in that mentoring leadership role, they would get first priority to get overtime outside of the school and follow the students to the community center.
Right.
And if not, we hire one or two more. The same salary as a first-year teacher.
Right.
It's doable because the funding is used now for hall monitors.
Right.
Take that away, give it to this particular type of program. So the importance of doing that is you now have an umbrella over these children. You have the adults that are there with them in the school.
Right.
You have the same adults that are there with them in the community center.
Right.
And it's also a great opportunity for teachers who claim to be vested to volunteer.
Right.
To go inside the community center and learn to shoot hoops with the kids.
Right.
And throw the football and play soccer and all kinds of other activities. And it's a teachable moment outside of and you have a lot of teachers who would be willing to do that.
Right.
We just don't have it set up that way.
Right. Okay. So, and I like that. I like the idea of extending out there and offering it to people to be able to work outside of that. And unfortunately, you mentioned something that is kind of touchy for me, right? To have to pay somebody to be able to do that and not volunteer their time or volunteer those opportunities, because I feel like sometimes while it's needed, absolutely needed, when you pay someone to do it, I don't know how well that connection actually works, because we don't know if they're truly believing in the process and believing in the mentorship and believing in the relationship, or is it because, okay, now I'm going to get a couple extra dollars to be able to stay a little later to be able to do that. So what are your thoughts about that?
In most cases, after school programs, in my opinion, they're failures. The children don't want to be there beyond the school day.
Right.
The adults don't want to be there beyond the school day. So the first thing you do is give the option to the adult who's there during the day to be there after school.
Right.
And you set expectations.
Right.
Myself as an example, and we have a guy at work, I'm gonna give him a plug, Coach Williams, if you know him. Right. He's a community guy. He does it for free now. He leaves the building and he goes to the centers and he engages and he plays video games with them and basketball. He's not very good at it, but he plays it. Because his heart is vested in the children and in the community. Right. The pay is extra. He doesn't get it this time, but if it's set up that way and he's chosen as one of those people, then it's just a benefit. People get paid for a certain amount of hours of their day because they have personal responsibilities and obligations that they must take care of.
Right.
It's the same thing. So the person who's not vested would have his first meeting, his second meeting,
Right.
and then he would be dismissed and he would be replaced with someone who's vested.
Right.
There are people who are vested.
Absolutely.
They need to be in that position in order to change the lives of the children we serve.
Well, I definitely appreciate you being here this evening, and we definitely appreciate the conversation. Hopefully, those out there watching and paying attention are hearing some good things, and hopefully, like we talked about before, those who are in position to make a difference will be willing to stand up and step up and be able to do that. And hopefully the funding will be there to be able to support that as well. So as we kind of close out this segment of Community Crossfire, another point of view tonight, anything you want to share with the community or anything you just want to share?
Well, I want to thank you for your 40 years of service to,
Not
to
quite.
Wilmington. No, it's been a lot of years,
Yeah.
but I do want to thank you for your many, many years of service. You're always a resource. I love your Instagram videos, the motivation that you have, the energy that you push for everybody to rise up. I'm not plugging you on the show. It's genuine. I really do appreciate, a lot of people appreciate, because of you, people like me and others genuinely care about the community because it filters down from people like you who we've seen play that role, perform that role in the past. So thank you, Butch.
Wow, I appreciate that, sir. And we appreciate you, Dr. Avinger. Let me get it right, Dr. Avinger. All right,
Thanks for
ladies.
having me on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in a few moments with another exciting guest. Stay tuned.